Beautiful.
Hey, welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced as all things should be, and we're back from a long hiatus. I'm your host, Max Mosier. Before I did that intro, my computer was freezing up. It's been a journey to get to this point. We'll talk about it more, but we are back from our summer vacation, summer camp vibes. The Infinity Bros did summer camp. Felt like a long summer camp. But I'm here with two other Infinity Bros to talk about a lot of fun stuff today. Infinity Bro Isaac. Isaac, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing great. Excited to be on and review some cool nerd stuff that we've kind of, Suicide Squad came out like 3 weeks ago now? 4? 3?
The people can calm down on the delay. Okay.
Yeah. We gotta catch up on some stuff. So I'm really excited to be on.
Yeah, we got some other things that I think some people are coming to check out, but Suicide Squad is on the docket today. We are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home, the trailer that just dropped, I believe, yesterday or 2 days ago. And then we're going to talk about What If Episode 2 and 3, but we can't do that till we introduce our third Infinity Bro. We got Infinity Bro Robbie. Robbie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. So happy to talk about all these things that we've missed. And if people are upset that our episodes haven't been out, we're some of us are parents, some of us have lives, and some of us are Zane. So we're out here living life, okay? Some of us.
Good point.
No, you're right. I absolutely agree. And it's been a wild summer. Some of us have moved. Robbie, you moved. I moved. Jarrett has been in the process of a move.
Did Jarrett really move, or he was moved out?
I mean, he moved into a trailer home and then is moving back. So, I mean, you can count that as a move into his house again. So that counts.
Zane is moving.
He's moving from the couch to the fridge, and then back to the couch,
which is about the same effort for him as it is for you guys to like move houses. So that's a pretty big deal for Zane.
If that's the case, then I feel bad for Zane. Because there's a lot of effort to move. So I'm actually going to retract making fun of Zane and moving now that you said that, because if that's the truth, I don't wish that on anybody.
Moving sucks.
Moving is the absolute worst thing on the planet. It sucks so bad. It's like we're still moving things in, and we've been at our house for 3 weeks now, and it's just wild.
Same.
It's buck wild.
We're still organizing.
Yeah, we're still organized. There's boxes everywhere. I hate it. Moving stinks. We got a lot to talk about, so we really don't have much more time to talk about our moving endeavors. But if you want to reach out to one of us, check us out on theinfinitybros.com. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And there's a bunch of links in the show notes that you can click. I'm not going to bore you with those right now, but we'd love for you to check us out. Leave us a review. We need to talk about a big review we got during the hiatus. Is that what we're calling this? Are we calling this summer camp the hiatus? Are we just talking it our long July 4th trip? Like, what are we calling this vacation we took?
Infinity Bro Summer. It's like hot girl summer, but not as hot or as interesting.
I mean, hey, if you're posting pictures on your Instagram, Robbie, I'm all in on it. So, some of us are interesting, just not all of us.
Well, we do need Mark to post more.
Ooh,
that is
yes,
true.
we do.
We got a great review. You could check us out on iTunes, Podchaser, anywhere where you can leave a review. We'd love for you to do that for us. And we got another 5-star review. This one comes from Potato Lady Beck's Goose.
Potato Lady.
Heck of a name.
Yeah, all right.
Why Potato Lady? Like, it's just, I don't
know either. Yeah, that's true. It's going to stick in your head.
It's so strange. It's so off the wall.
Maybe we need a weirder name.
I don't know. Like, I'm hung up on the name. The review's nice, but the name is awful.
You know what I've noticed about our name is that people that like, I don't know if you guys have experienced this in your personal lives, but people that like know that we're the Infinity Bros will go out of their way to be like, oh, he does the Infinity Boys, Infinity Guys. Like, it's Infinity Bros.
Yeah, so I just came from a work conference for my job, and we had like a skit that was happening from some of my coworkers, and they got up front and said that our job is more convoluted than Max's superhero podcast. And then they went like, is it like the Super Gauntlet show? Like, and then they did thumbs down, right? And I was like, this is awful. This is like my dad reviewing my podcast.
It's like your dad thinking he has a good joke, but it's
Yeah,
not really
exactly. That's exactly what happened. And it just feels like Potato Lady like put herself out here in this moment and said, I'm going to do something different. And this just did not land at all and resonate with me. I'm going to be frank with you guys. I give this a 2 out of 6 rating on the name.
The name. Okay, I was going to say,
yeah,
wow,
the Potato Lady name.
Potato Lady?
I think it's awful. The only reason I don't give it a 1 is because she gave it. What's up?
Is she based in Utah? Isn't that the potato capital of?
Haven't a clue.
Isn't that Idaho? I thought it was Idaho.
Is it? Oh, Idaho. My bad.
Idaho.
Come on,
Kick me
Robbie.
off the
Don't come
podcast
on
right
this
now.
podcast and mess up geography.
Is Idaho even a real state? My goodness.
You know what? As I think more
Name
about
one
it,
person you know from Idaho.
Nobody, you're
I
right.
can't.
don't-
Potato
I have
Lady.
no-
That's
nobody.
the one person I know.
Apparently.
She gave us a 5-star. She says, I was impressed by the deep discussions they had about the issues that face our world today and how people, in parentheses, especially in the entertainment industry, are handling them. While the average listener might not agree with 100% of the things that are said in given serious discussion, I appreciated their candor and their sincerity. As far as balance goes, I'd say the show doesn't tip the scale too far towards light, fluffy, and frivolous or serious, down to earth, and analytical. There really is a good amount of both. So then if nobody's agreeing with everything we're saying here, which bro is she most likely referencing here? Because she reviewed episode 41 of our podcast.
That's a great question.
Do we know which episode that is? What number is
Hold
that?
on, let's check it.
What
Hold
did we
on.
talk about in that episode?
I'm Googling it right. We're pumping the Google machine up right now.
Because my goodness, that sounds like such a generalized review.
So this was Infinity Bro, Jared, Zane, and Max.
Yeah.
The bros
Probably
discuss Pokemon Unite, an AI robot acting in a movie, and dates for the Umbrella Academy and the boys. The bros then share their thoughts on TV film polling episodes and scenes with racist depictions of black. That's the serious conversation.
Oh,
That was
there
the
you
episode
go.
we talked about them pulling the blackface scenes from The Office.
Okay.
Infinity Bro Jarrett shares his aggressive perspective over Call of Duty. Wow, I'll tell you what, that's a good
Whoa.
plug from my perspective because I don't even remember what we talked about, and I want to go back.
I don't either.
Infinity Bro Zane
Whoa.
defends Apple for the first
It
time
sounds like
ever.
we need to
Oh my
listen to this episode again.
Dude, this is a groundbreaking episode. Big things happened. And Infinity Bro Max reviews the newest Jon Stewart release, Irresistible. I believe I gave that a 5 out of 6. I would stand by that right now. I'd say 5 out of 6 today. And The Way Back,
even
starring
know
Ben
what that
Affleck,
is.
that's a 6 out of 6. You remember, Robbie? You
that's a
loved
good-
that
that's a
movie.
good movie. Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a good
great movie. I think we talked about that the next episode. And then we close it out with our top 5 heroes of color. So yeah, there's some serious conversation happening in that episode.
Yeah, she picked an interesting episode to review. I like that.
Especially one was Zane.
Yeah, like what are the odds? Like Robbie, like what are the actual statistical odds that you'd get an episode with Zane? Is like 1 in 8 episodes, you think?
I think it's even less than that. I'm pretty sure it's like throwing a dart at a dartboard randomly and hitting a bullseye.
Yeah. It's like trying to come up with a clever name for yourself and landing on Potato Lady. Yeah, that's what it is.
Wow.
I appreciate the review,
All
but
right,
the
then.
name is abysmal. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So you asked who do you think she's referencing? It has to be Jarrett, right? Jarrett's probably the most like neutral good out of all of us.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, she probably disagreed with me. I'm sure I had some hot take, like her name is terrible. Or, and then Jarrett was probably he probably spoke very highly of whatever the topic was, said very, very fluffy, great words. And then Zane was probably like, well, Apple did something good for once.
Well, actually,
Actually.
what was it that Apple did good? That Zane
I don't know,
agreed
but I'm going to go episode 41.
with? We better go check out.
But
episode
put that in the
41.
show
Check it out.
notes. I'll put it in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for reviewing Potato Lady. We really appreciate your review. We have one more review real quick. This from Caleb A, good friend of the show. He also leaves a 5-star for us. He says, absolutely love these guys. Always excited when I see a new episode pop up. Love the spoiler reviews and guests. This gets a 6 out of 6 for me. I will also give this a 6 out of 6 rating because he used our rating system. And so well done to him.
Always a plus.
Yeah.
Always a plus.
I will say, though, you know what? I'm actually dropping the review to 5.9. Since we're on the topic of names, I think it's an absolute travesty that his name starts with a K. So 5.9, Caleb, You've been misspelling your name wrong the whole life. Get on that fast.
Wait, would you rather it start with a C?
100%.
I rather like Caleb with a K.
Yeah, 100%. Caleb with a C. No doubt in my mind. And
Is that like the English spelling of Caleb? Caleb with the
doesn't
K?
matter. And I'm going to ask that the audience respects my privacy after I made this choice. So please do not email me or ask me at theinfinitybros.com. I don't want to get an email at the
Max Mosier 73 on Twitter.
Please do not review
tell
our
us-
podcast.
Tell us what you think of Max's opinion.
Don't
on
email the
Caleb
Infinity
with
Bros
K.
at podcast@gmail.com. Do not reach out to us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Do not do those things. Please do not reach out to us. We don't care.
Nah, he tweaking. Have you
Let's-
guys seen that?
No.
Really random. Have you guys seen the nah he tweaking thing?
No.
Go to okay.
We're
so
30.
This is okay, but listen, okay. This is us keeping up with the trends right now. So Tony Hawk posted something, and someone else like wrote on in the comments, "Nah he tweaking," and now everyone in every comment section that you go to on Instagram, it'll say "Nah he tweaking," everywhere. No joke.
I'm glad it's Tony Hawk starting the trend. That's kind of cool.
Isaac, do you mind if I send you the cool story basket digitally for you to pass over to Robbie?
Yes,
So you can put that
I
in
will
there for
hold
me?
it up here. You go ahead and throw
Robbie,
that.
just go ahead and
through
throw
the
that
internet.
cool story in there for me real quick for our audience.
Wait.
Hold on. Yeah.
There you go.
Kobe!
Yep.
There it
Oh,
is.
score.
I
Nice.
just want you guys to be updated on what's going on in the digital world.
Thank
Okay.
you. I'm glad you care about us like that.
Maybe we'll make a Nahi tweaking TikTok after this.
I'm good. I'd rather you not.
You, Max, you're tweaking.
Nah, he tweaking.
Nah, he too can.
We talked about a
Continue.
rating system at the top of the show and during our review segments. We want to make sure that you're familiar with that as we step into some spoiler reviews of movies and trailers that we've been watching. So we're going to go ahead and put that bumper right here.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an infinity step.
And additionally, we are going to be spoiling a few things today. We're going to be spoiling the Suicide Squad. If you haven't seen it by now, shame on you. We're going to be spoiling the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, and then we're going to spoil episodes 1 through 3 of What If, potentially. For sure, episodes 2 and 3, but we might talk about episode 1. So we're just going to go ahead and put a universal spoiler warning right here.
This is
Prepare yourself.
an Infinity Bros
Prepare yourself.
spoiler warning.
When you hear the spoiler warning, do you think it's just a deep Max Mosier editing in his room or Thanos?
It's definitely Max. Yeah.
Like, some people have reached out saying, "Oh, it sounds like Thanos. I like that you did that." And I'm like, that was a happy accident because I did not. That was not the vision.
No one's reached out.
I've had 2 people say that.
Were they in high school?
Were these
they
people
old?
in your head?
Yes.
Was it
You're
you talking
right.
to yourself in the mirror?
Yes. Yes, it was Max Jr. and
They
MacArthur.
reached out to me.
They reached out and touched the mirror.
It was Tim's first sentence.
No, he reached out to me, Mom, I swear. Nobody's ever asked about that. Let's talk about the Suicide Squad, the 2-hour and 12-minute movie, rated R, from Warner Brothers, directed and written by James Gunn, starring a lot of people: Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Michael Rooker, Viola Davis, John Ostrander, Nathan Fillion, Jai Courtney, Flula Borg, Mailing. How do you say Mailing's last name?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna say
Your
Mailing.
guess is good.
Yeah, I'm not gonna forget.
Just sound it out.
No.
Phonics.
Sound it out.
Phonics Max.
I am not
Right
hooked on
now. Right now.
phonics. I'm still
Sound
working
it
on
out.
that. That's a discipline I'm working on. Pete Davidson, Sean Gunn, Stephen Blackart, Steve Age, Tanisha Kajish, Jennifer Holland, and Fernando Martinez. This is the second Suicide Squad movie. Obviously, the return of several characters, including Harley Quinn, Colonel Rick Flag, and Captain Boomerang, directed and written, we talked about, by James Gunn at the top. And this was also voiced by the Sylvester Stallone, who plays King Shark, and Taika Waititi also makes an appearance in this. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to spoil that part of it either. We're going to start with you, Robbie. Robbie, tell us your rating of this movie and give us your broad stroke thoughts early.
Oh man. So I watched this the first night, and we were going to go to the theaters for the first time, and then decided just not to because it released early on HBO Max. So okay. So I just want to get this out of the way. Even though we've talked about like the death of the theater, like when HBO Max is right there, and I even want to go to the theater, I'll still just choose HBO Max because it's so much easier. But my review of this movie is this movie has a chance to save the DCU. I'll start there. And it paves the way for DC to go all in on the rated R formula. I know that's not like the way that Marvel did it, because I know people have been trying to get DC to do the Marvel way, but they should just do their own way. Let's just go rated R all the way and keep it going. My rating for it is going to be a 5.5 out of 6.
This movie originally was supposed to have Superman be the main villain, but due to the negotiation and talks with Henry Cavill, that did not happen. Suicide Squad comic book writer Joel Ostrander is always in it. Also in it, he plays Dr. Fitzgibbon in the film as well. He makes a brief cameo appearance at the beginning when he's putting one of the bombs into the back of...
Just like Captain Boomerang.
I forget which character was he putting the bomb into. I forget which character it was.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. Oh, it was a savant.
It was Woody Harrelson.
It was Michael Rooker.
Or Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker. Savant.
Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson. Michael Rooker.
Isaac, what is your rating of this movie and your thoughts?
I love this movie. I pretty much fully agree with Robbie. I think this is they're paving a path with the start of this movie, and I think they should keep going this way. James Gunn does an incredible job, especially just in comparison to the previous Suicide Squad movie. Man, it's fantastic what he does with these characters, what he does with the story. You mentioned that Superman was supposed to be the antagonist. Would he be the antagonist, I guess?
Yeah, it was supposed to be him originally instead of Starro the Conqueror.
Yeah, but man, what I loved about this movie is it's one of the most comic booky movies out there. Like everything was just so like blown up and fantastic and just hilarious. Like it felt like a comic book. And I love that about this. James Gunn did an incredible job directing this. Everything, and I know he's been very vocal on Twitter about, every single shot, everything they did in this film was 100% his choice, which WB has had trouble with in the past, obviously. So the fact that they're letting their directors do what they want to do, I think is a good thing. And this movie is fantastic. I will give it a 5.5 out of 6 as well. Just very enjoyable movie to watch. Everything about it, like it was a lot more emotional than I was expecting it to be as well, which was fantastic. Idris Elba does a fantastic job, and yeah, lots of great things to say about this movie. But I'll leave the discussion up to later. But that's kind of my just general thoughts on the Suicide Squad.
This is a 91% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, an 82% audience score, which kind of shocked me a little bit.
That's odd.
That number feels low to me. And I'm going to go out and just out the gates give this just a strong 5 out of 6. This is a good movie. This is a very, very good movie. And I'm not surprised it's a good movie, to be honest. I think when we saw James Gunn attached to it, our expectations were exactly where they should have been. I think the cinematography on this is absolutely grand, especially in regards to Harley Quinn's fight towards the end. I think that the opening sequence is absolutely hilarious, but also shocking. I thought for sure Captain Boomerang was going to last longer than he did. I also thought that Weasel was going to last longer than he did. He was like in all the promo stuff. I thought for sure that guy was going to be in it the whole time, and he's in it.
Weasel will be back, man.
Yeah, for sure. He's coming back. But
do you think Weasel becomes the Stan Lee of the DCU? He's just in every movie.
I love that.
Somewhere in the
amazing.
background, Weasel.
It's a great take, Robbie. I think that's an awesome take. Yeah, I think I have a couple gripes with it, which is probably unusual for some people. My biggest gripe is I don't think Harley Quinn's arc was that great. A lot of people have really
100%.
spoken highly of her arc, and I couldn't get behind it. It felt like they were forced to use her, and honestly, this felt like the only handcuff to me for James Gunn. That
Max,
being said,
I'm 100% agreeing with you. I'm shocked right now.
okay, that first time for everything. I will say this. It appears that Margot Robbie and James Gunn really enjoy working with each other. That's a good thing for DC because you want to keep James Gunn attached to this because this movie, the heart and soul of this movie is James Gunn and his vision for these characters and how he uses Ratcatcher 1 and 2, for example. A character who's very obscure and Polka Dot Man and how King Shark. And there's tons of highlights in this movie that we can talk about. Starro the Conqueror, I thought he absolutely executed how that would look and how when they attached to people's faces, the little tentacles were sticking out of the stars. I just thought James Gunn, his attention to detail is magnificent, but additionally, he really treats every movie like a middle schooler who should not have any control over an art project. Right. There's always two to five inappropriate jokes every 10 minutes. So I really enjoy it. The gripe here for me is Harley Quinn. While I do think Margot Robbie and James Gunn will be back together, it wouldn't surprise me at all if James Gunn directs like a Harley Quinn Poison Ivy rom-com down the line, or just another Harley Quinn movie that please be better, in my opinion, than Birds of Prey. I know you guys love it, but I didn't. I think James Gunn is definitely a huge piece of this puzzle. There's tons of things I'll praise other than that, but I think Harley Quinn was a little bit of a weaker piece of this movie than people are giving credit for. And I know she's the bright, shiny object right now in DC, right? She's one of the biggest IPs over there.
She's got an animated show. She's got her own comic books.
Exactly.
She's selling.
But man, another highlight is John Cena and Polka Dot Man,
Peacemaker.
David
Maslany.
I forget his name out loud. I'm on his IMDb page. Man, I'll tell you what, those two arcs were just dynamite to me. I was absolutely floored by Peacemaker switching at the end. I couldn't believe that was happening.
That was
so
fantastic.
shocking. It was shocking in the context of what we were finding out. I felt like the R rating was just for that scene. Personally, I feel like they didn't need to do an R rating up to that point, but for that. And I really enjoyed it. I think John Cena did a great job.
Davidson did get his face blown off in the first 5 seconds.
Dude, that was buck
the blood
wild, man.
There was a lot in that scene.
Well, because what you were just hitting on, Max, with Harley Quinn, every time we had a Harley Quinn arc, you knew it was going to be longer. And I was like, just get me back to the team. I did not care for her whole arc, getting captured and being with the one guy. That it just felt so long to me. And I think it was only 3 minutes really in the grand scope of the movie. But I just didn't care. I was like, get me back to Bloodsport and John Cena, just comparing each other the entire time, and freaking King Shark doing his dumb things. Get me back to what's going on there. I could care less really about what Harley Quinn was doing.
She felt like the true handcuff in this movie. It felt like this was Warner Brothers' way of saying she has to be in this. And you knew she wasn't going to die. That's the problem I have with her character.
Yeah.
She's the one character in this movie that's not going to die. So the idea that anybody could die, I believed that for every single person on screen except for her. And that takes me out of the movie. And it's a very small thing. And again, I didn't like Birds of Prey, so I think that part also plays into my rating on this, to be honest. I believe Margot Robbie is our Harley Quinn. I know a lot of people would say that the animated actress maybe would be their Harley Quinn. I personally think Margot Robbie is my Harley Quinn. However, I don't think she has had her best moment on screen yet. And I think that will come down the line with James Gunn again. So we'll see.
She really hasn't been given. I mean, Birds of Prey I think is an okay movie. It's still probably not a great Harley Quinn movie though.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, I don't think she's been given her dues yet. Really, they've focused movies around her, but I think there's a lot more left in that tank. You have Margot Robbie and an IP that sells right now. Just make a Harley Quinn movie with her like getting back at the Joker or her and Poison Ivy or something. Like they need to just go all in on it like now before Harley Quinn's IP doesn't sell as much as it is right now.
Craziest thing too is that bare feet scene where she's hanging from her hands. She did that stunt.
Oh, yeah.
She did that stunt by herself.
Picked up the keys,
That's
put them
pretty
in the
awesome.
lock, and
She
unlocked
did.
it.
She unlocked it with her
wild.
feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like she is an incredible actress. She puts time and effort into her characters. Margot Robbie's a remarkable actress. This is just a great example to me of like, man, Warner Brothers, you let James Gunn go 95% of the way. Can you let him go the last 5% and give us that perfect DC movie that we've always wanted?
Sure.
And we've had this discussion several times on this podcast. DC is better than Marvel if done right.
Yeah.
It just will be.
Yeah.
It will. The Justice
Right.
League is better than anything Marvel has.
The Avengers were not a like household name until Marvel did what they did. Like Justice League was still the household name. So we'll see.
We'll see. It's interesting. King Shark was great too. Sylvester Stallone, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like James Gunn
Fantastic.
always brings back the same people. It seems like.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of shocked. I know Batista originally was going to be Peacekeeper, but it didn't work out for his scheduling or whatever reason.
Hammond.
But James Gunn just, even if it's the same beats in some ways as Guardians of the Galaxy, I still like it. And I loved how they did the title cards of Transition in Time or like Warner Brothers Presents with the Blood. I thought that was great.
They did some really creative transitions in this movie too, which
yeah.
I think generally in comic book movies is kind of lacking. Like they just kind of move on to the next thing. But they did, James Gunn did a lot of really cool transitions in this movie, which I thought was fun.
Is it fair to say that the music almost felt like he was really trying to push the music in there?
Yeah, music wasn't that good.
No, because Guardians and Galaxy, like, it made sense. Like, it's on his speakers thing. It's like that's what he's listening to. This was kind of like, okay, James Gunn, we know this is your thing, but, like, the music, it was hit or miss for me. There were some spots that I really liked, and some spots I was like, this is kind of forced here, but it's James Gunn, so that's kind of what you're going to get. But, God, my favorite scene probably still has to be where Bloodsport and Peacemaker are going through the camp that we found out to be like the refugees.
Oh, 100%.
And they're like just trying to do crazy kill shots the whole time. And then you get the reveal at the end. They just kill the entire like refugee camp.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was
Yeah, no
great.
doubt, best scene. And like, there's full frontal male nudity in that scene, dude. Like, just like there is some. This movie had some wild things.
Well, we touched on it a little bit. Just like there's characters that you never thought you would like. Like, I think we all thought Polka Dot Man was going to be dead at the beginning. Like, I don't think too
Yeah.
many people thought he was going to make it, and he becomes one of the stars of the movie. And then like the mom thing and how James Gunn incorporated that.
That was an amazing bit.
That was great. I will say that's one of my gripes in this movie is that he just dies after all that we've been through with him. That was a little shocking, and I was like, "Oh, come on now! Like we've grown attached to this guy through this movie."
But that's the weight of it, though, you know, because you finally get that I'm a superhero,
Right?
then
And
he gets
I would
crushed by
have,
Star Wars.
it probably would have been earned a little bit more if he died if he died a little bit more dramatically instead of just the way, like it was done just for laughs, and I get that, but to me it just was like cutting him short after we had grown to love this character. So I was not really a fan of that.
Yes, but at the same time, where do you go with a Polka Dot Man? You know, like what's the next step for Polka Dot Man?
Well, and I would have been fine if he died. I'm just saying the way he died, I felt was a little under. Like they cut him off on that, which is a little bit of a bummer to me.
Yeah, well, and that shows your attachment to the character. That shows how passionate you were for this character arc.
Right, exactly. And who would have thought before this movie that we would be getting attached to him,
Polka
or
Dot
even
Man.
King Shark too?
King
Like we were
Shark
getting
or
attached to King
Ratcatcher
Shark.
2.
Oh my
Like-
gosh, Ratcatcher 2. Like the emotional side of this movie was something I was not expecting at all. And with Ratcatcher 2 and with with it's Bloodsport, right? I always get Bloodshot and Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
Mixed up. Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2. There were some fantastic moments with those two that made me just really, really adore this movie more than I thought I would have. So that hats off to James Gunn for pushing that emotional aspect through in this movie that could have just been blood, guts, and laughs, you know. So yeah,
James Gunn
definitely.
has a knack for making you care about characters maybe you shouldn't. Like even Starro at the end, that last line, like I was so happy among the stars for Starro. Like even that like hit home for me. I was like, dang, like that was that was almost like the I may not be your daddy, but I am your papa line or whatever that line is.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That simple
Guardians of the
one-liners
Galaxy
that just
2.
like hit deep. I mean, obviously, Starro we didn't have that big of a connection with, but just that little line, like maybe like kind of feel bad for Starro in a brief moment. But James Gunn is so good with those little things, and that, like Max said, that attention to detail, and giving like Starro being mad a purpose, and like it's huge to get for DC to get James Gunn when Marvel kicked him out for a brief time.
That's the other thing too about this movie that's so fascinating, Robbie, is how much of this was an answer to what Marvel did. Like how much of this you could
100%.
tell he wanted this to be so good. You could tell he was like, I want to go to
right.
DC and show you that I'm gonna totally do this without Kevin Feige. And sure, Marvel brought him back, but you could tell even with the writing, it's like for Ratcatcher 1 and 2 to be the center point and heart of this movie, you could just sense there was a little bit of him speaking to that situation through that character and those characters. I really, really, that was not lost on me watching this, and I felt him sending a message to Marvel in this, and I'm glad that it worked out for him at Marvel. Don't get me wrong, but man, there's an interesting timeline out there too, a multiverse that he stays with DC and starts to light it up because they let him have any character he wanted. That was what they said. You can do anybody you want because we got you.
Well, and I'm sure before he agreed to, do this film, he also, made the stipulation, I will do what I want with this movie. Like, I will have the final say. I will have the final cut. Just with WB's history of all the stuff that's gone down with Zack Snyder and even David Ayer that we're finding out about the previous Suicide Squad. So, I mean...
No, that was just
yeah.
Suicide Squad. This is the Suicide Squad.
Yes, right. Suicide Squad.
Just tried to ask about how they connect at the beginning of the movie. I was like, they don't. Forget that movie. Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang and Rick Flag were both in it, but like, let's forget about that movie.
Mm-hmm, right. I will. You know what? I was actually a little shocked that they killed off Boomerang right away too, because he's kind of been.
I actually liked Boomerang.
He was
kind of.
I know. I kind of liked him a little bit. So, but you know what? I mean, we at the beginning of the movie, we knew that a lot of those characters were gonna die, and so the way he died, it made sense. But I was a little, it was kind of sad that he did. I definitely wasn't sad when Pete Davidson's face got blown off at the beginning.
Perfect.
I was like, yeah, all right.
There's something very nice about Pete Davidson getting killed like that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And it's. I mean, I like him. He's a good
Satisfying.
actor. It's not even necessarily indicative of him. Just
Pete Davidson has a very like punchable face.
yeah, I agree.
So like,
it looks like he's
watching
been
that
punched
happen
a couple
to
times.
him, like you just kind of felt like,
Yeah.
that was kind of satisfying. I don't know why.
That was satisfying.
He did do a dick move, so he kind of deserved it. But I was like,
Totally, 100%.
I kind of enjoyed that.
Before we transition to Spider-Man: No Way Home, did Amanda Waller plan for that to happen?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
did
100%,
Did she know that was going to happen?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, she knew.
she knew it
Pretty
was
sure they
happening.
alluded to that, like after
Right.
it happened.
Yeah, it felt
Like,
up
they
in
were
the
the
air enough.
distraction.
It felt up in the air enough that it might not be real. That's why that you
Absolutely.
could interpret it as she didn't.
What's interesting is that Harley Quinn and Rick Flag were on the team that were gonna get massacred, and she knew that. Like she potentially knew that all of them were gonna die.
Well, she's
except
probably
for her
tying up
secondary
loose ends,
team.
though.
She wanted Harley
Like-
Quinn
Right.
dead for sure.
Yeah, she wanted them
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah, it's
So,
just,
yeah, the
it's
Rick
just
Flag is
interesting.
probably the only question mark, to be honest.
Yeah, Rick Flag, she probably felt a little bad about, but in the long run, probably not that bad.
You got to remember in the Suicide Squad that I just said forget about, she literally killed everyone in that room that was working for her.
Yep, true.
Like that was the only like inconsistency that kind of bothered me if you connected both movies. But Yeah. We just forget about the first one.
That and the idea that like the people in the room were like setting these bets up on like who was going to die first, and then at the end they're like all of a sudden they care about kids. That did not feel consistent to me.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't feel consistent. That's all. But those are small things that I can let go because James Gunn's awesome.
Right.
These feel like true nitpicks to me. I
King Shark joke, and I'm good.
for sure. I want to do a 5.5 on this one, Robbie. But I think the reason I got to stay at 5 is I think the Harley Quinn arc really does mess up for me. I think it really does make this movie lag for me, and that's such a bummer because this is a movie, in my opinion, that I should come on here and give a 6 because everybody else.
That's what moved it from a 6 for me. Like, I just couldn't get over. Like when I think about the movie, I think about those boring times we were watching Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
and like some really bad like Harley Quinn jokes, like with that guy with the javelin, I think is his name.
Yep, exactly.
When she was like, "Do what? Do what?" Like this joke is so stupid. Like, shut up. Like,
yeah,
I
mean, it's James Gunn humor. That's how it goes, right? I mean, like, some are gonna land, some aren't. Is what it is. All right, let's transition to Spider-Man No Way Home. The synopsis for this movie on IMDb reads, for the first time in cinematic history, Spider-Man, our friendly neighborhood hero, is unmasked and no longer able to separate his normal life from the high stakes of being a superhero. When he asks for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. It's directed by John Watts, who directed the previous 2 Spider-Man films that are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and attached to Civil War. It stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Zendaya as MJ, Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, Marissa Tomei as May Parker, J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and it says this. We'll say Benedict Wong and Alfred Molina are also in this as well. It says on IMDb that Willem Dafoe is in it. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx has confirmed he's on it, so we'll say him. JB Smoove has confirmed he's on it as well. And Jacob Batalon's in it as well as Ned Leeds. There's a lot of interesting storylines here. Let's talk about them before we talk about the trailer. First off, I believe of the 3 of us, I believe of all the Infinity Bros, I was the only one to watch the leaked footage. So I watched did you watch it, Isaac? Did you give into the pressure like I did?
No, nope, I did not. I heard it was leaked and I was like, nope, I'm waiting.
I gave you guys I said if you wanted, here it is, and you guys were like, no, I'll wait. And I think that was in the grand scheme of how long we waited, I thought that was the right move.
Right. Yeah.
If you had waited like a couple weeks, I'd have been like, nah, I'm glad I watched it. But
I probably would have gave in if it was more than a couple days, probably. But I knew it was coming out.
I figured as soon as they released it that we were getting it.
So I watched the trailer beforehand. We'll talk about the trailer here in a moment. Couple things on this that are just, this is like, okay. So again, some of the stuff I'm sharing here comes from the subreddit, Marvel Studios spoilers. There's not a guarantee though with this subreddit that all this is true. Okay, people? So, but I want to talk about it because it's the hot topic here with all this. And I don't think this trailer, how do I say this? I don't think that this movie gets nearly as much hype if we think there's any chance that these 2 characters aren't in it, and that's the previous Spider-Man.
Oh, that's
right. And we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room here on this. So there are alleged pictures out there right now that have been copyrighted of Andrew Garfield in a Spider-Man outfit on a blue screen set that are new. They are new pictures. I will attach these in the show notes if you'd like to see them. Robbie and Isaac, I won't show them to you, but you can envision what they look like.
Not to mention, there are also several toy leaks out there that have both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man suits that have the Spider-Man No Way Home logo on them. Like those are official toys that are coming out. So there are plenty of leaks out there.
Additionally, there is another leak, and I'm going to say this in quotes because it's not for sure yet.
Little bits.
This truly is a little bit. You're right.
Little bit.
That Matt Murdock is in this movie, and that Matt Murdock is the lawyer of Tom Holland's Peter Parker in the beginning of this. Some people believe he's the person slamming the books on the table in the trailer. I don't think he's that guy.
No.
But apparently there's a lot of people, Daniel RPK, just a lot of big reviewers, or I'm sorry, spoiler leaks guys and gals that are saying that Matt Murdock is in this. It's pretty confident that that's going to happen. And it involves that detective interrogation scene when he comes in is up to, like, you know, your mind can wander on that. So the question I have for each of you is this. Okay, let's start with that. So you're not buying that Matt Murdock's in this. Percentage chance, Robbie, what do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't give it a 0. I'd be safe and give it a 10%. Based on what people are trying to say, like, this is Matt Murdock defending Spider-Man, that doesn't make any sense, because Matt Murdock helps like the small, like the little guy, you know?
Right, he'd be like defending Tom Holland, if anything. I think like he
unless
he
they try to
wouldn't
go
be-
with like no one wants to touch Spider-Man, the Avenger, as a defense, and like he's the only one that will do it. Like if they go that route, that would be my 10%. But if I can think of that storyline sitting here in a chair, like in Minnesota, then they're paying someone way too much freaking money.
But I think what I
That's
love
dumb.
about your analogy here is that, like, being in Minnesota totally drops us off of, like, the creative scope of making a reasonable choice in a movie. Isaac, I'm curious, what do you is Murdoch in this?
I'm like, honestly, I would give it a 50% chance. I think there's a decent chance that he's in it. I don't think that he is the guy in the trailer that everybody's looking at. But I think he will probably appear in this movie. I mean, nothing is out of the realm of possibility, as we saw in the last, 10, 15 seconds of the trailer. So I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say that he is probably in this movie. And please, Charlie Cox, please.
I'm about 80% on it that he's in it, to be honest, because it just feels too, one, because these Reddit leaks, this is such a specific thing. This is a very specific thing to be saying. It's a little different than saying, like, this character is going to appear. There's actual, like, people saying he's in this scene doing this at this. And I'm not going to get into that because I don't want
kind of like
potential
Mephisto
spoilers.
was in WandaVision. Kind of like that. I'm really sure about that.
Well, with
Really
I will
sure
say this
about
about
that, and that's what
WandaVision.
happened.
With WandaVision, there was no, like, leaks. There were no leaks of, like, who's going to be in it. It was all speculation.
But they put the
So that is-
speculation in the show.
The difference is these are, like, leak people saying he's in it. This
And then
isn't just
Marvel-
Max
and then Marvel
pontificating.
saying they're not. You know, it's-
Max and Mark
fair.
pontificating is a completely different thing than Daniel RPK going out there, who's got like a 70% chance of being right saying this stuff. That's the point I'm making. So I think there's a good chance he's in it. What is the chance that Garfield and Maguire are in it?
I think that's a done deal. I think there's like 100%
I think
chance
so
that
too.
these guys
I think
are
there's
in it.
99. Nothing's guaranteed. I'll say 99.
With Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx back, like I think it's a done deal. Like they have to be in it at this point.
They're okay, but there's a difference. There's a difference between their suits are in it, and it's like you see them as their suits, and Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield actually being in it.
Well, I think that goes along with how much are they in it, because if they just show up as Spider-Man and fight for 5 minutes or something, that's different than them being a central part of the plot.
Well, that's what I
And-
just wanted to clarify, because like if you're saying they're in it, I am in agreement. I think there's a 99% chance that they're in it. That Spider-Man from those multiverses is in it. I'd say like a 75% chance that all three of them are on screen, mask off, at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's so low to me, Robbie. I
yeah.
think it's 99%, but I here's the thing. And to me, I think all three of us are in agreement they're probably going to be in this. So then the next question I have with all this, and we're going to get to the trailer, people. I know, you're like, let's talk about the trailer, but this stuff's important, Peter. Here's what I'm going to ask you. Is this second trailer, do you have to put them in it?
No, I say no.
I think they're gonna, dude. I think they're gonna do
I
it.
hope they don't.
I hope they don't too, but I think they're gonna.
they do like the end of the trailer like a tease, and they put down like you see Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then you see like the foot of another Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
Something like
yeah,
that.
exactly. You
Where
don't,
you don't
see
know
the
who
whole
it
suit.
is. If they show us Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, I think that's a huge failure. I honestly do.
I don't know. I don't know if that is
don't-
because again, this gets to the question at hand: is the person who has little engagement to the MCU, but definitely has engagement to previous Spider-Man movies, gonna not be interested in this or not have knowledge of this?
I think
Or is
just
this
having
just
Doc
so
Ock
big?
in it is enough. Just
I think so
showing
too.
Doc
That's a
Ock
good point. Yeah.
is enough in those trailers.
I think it is too. And then plus, like the casual fan or whatever you want to call it, they're going to hear about it after opening night anyways. Like they're going to hear
Yeah, word of mouth will
about all the
spread
people that are in it.
quick.
They're going to probably still go see it before it's out of theaters. So I don't think they're super concerned about that. Again, this is Marvel / Disney. They probably want.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they do show them. I think it would be a mistake. I think it would be a Batman v Superman Doomsday level mistake.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think right now they can't fumble the bag on this, right? You have to do this part, and clearly they care about it and they understand the weight of what these trailers are going to do.
Right.
And we're going to get to the trailer in a sec, people. Calm down. But I got to say like this trailer was so cryptic. 355.5 million global views in 24 hours. Absolutely obliterates Endgame by 70 million views. I mean, you're
That's
talking
wild.
That shows that they do not need to show the other Spider-Man.
tons of people rewatching this bad boy. There was a leak that said this was going to come out at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central 2 days ago, which would have been the 23rd of August, which also, by the way, really weird Easter egg, but that was the same date as on WandaVision on their calendar. Some people think that was them saying it. I think that just happened to coincide with it. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe.
Kevin Feige.
If
We
the
talk about James Gunn with the
if
details.
CinemaCon wasn't happening, I very highly doubt it would
I think
have
that's
been
a happy
released
accident
right
because
now.
Sony just doesn't play like that, in my opinion. It generated 1.56 million mentions on Twitter, which was 0.18 million mentions, so 180,000 more mentions on Twitter than Endgame. Again, this is compared to Endgame. This isn't like the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, the biggest superhero movie in existence.
Yes. So this teaser, this really did do its job in what they wanted it to do from a marketing perspective. Obviously, Doctor Strange is in it. We'll talk a little more about that. Isaac, you are the residential Spider-Man fanboy on this podcast. What is your rating of this trailer? I'm pretty confident I know what it is, but just say it for me anyway.
I am actually giving this trailer a 5.5 out of 6.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it.
Here's why. You mentioned it at the beginning of this. So, okay, for those of you who haven't seen it, you should probably go watch it before we're talking about this. But in the last 15 seconds of the trailer, we see a succession of potentially 3 to 5 villains that are going to be in this. 3 basically confirmed. And then 2 that are kind of iffy that people are saying are confirmed, but really are kind of, I don't know. But we get the Alfred Molina Doc Ock. He pops up at the end. We get Willem Dafoe laughing and the pumpkin bomb thrown on the bridge, which is, 99.999% confirmation that he's in it. They don't say names. We don't see his face. We get Electro in the lightning that is happening, and we already know that Jamie Foxx is in it. And we get a lot of sand kicked up, right? That is, the electric is kicking up, which people are speculating could be Sandman. And then there's a mysterious hooded black figure in the scene right before all this happens that a lot of people are saying. I don't really understand how people are saying this is Lizard for sure, because I've slowed it down 100 times and I cannot for the life of me see really anything.
Well, are
out
you
of
ready
that.
for this,
So,
Isaac? Are you ready for this? John
Okay.
Watts confirmed it is Lizard.
Whoa. When did this
He
happen?
confirmed it yesterday.
Yesterday he confirmed
He
it?
confirmed that Lizard is
Okay,
that.
well, I missed that.
Yeah,
All
I'll put
right,
that
so
link
we
in the
got
show
Lizard
notes.
in it. Okay, so yeah, then we got 5 villains here that are going to be in it, but this trailer plays so much off of nostalgia from these other Spider-Man movies, which I think is fantastic. I love, but I think it carries the trailer a little bit. Like, we're not all hyped about the rest of this trailer. We're hyped about that last 15 seconds of all those villains that we see, or I am at least. So that's why I give it a 5.5. Otherwise, great trailer. The only part that is weird to me is, and I think this is because it's a trailer, Marvel does this, they lead us astray and they point us in the wrong direction. They did it with Far From Home, with Mysterio saying that he was from another multiverse. Doctor Strange just going ahead and doing this spell to wipe everybody's minds of the idea that Peter Parker is Spider-Man it seems very irresponsible. And again, MCU Doctor Strange is very arrogant and like fully would believe that he can do this. So that's not really too far out of character for him. Yeah. But I feel like we're missing some context here, which I think we're going to get revealed, obviously as time goes on and we see the movie. But I don't know, that part just doesn't sit well with me. And I'm really excited to see where it goes, because I think Marvel's trying to pull one over on us in this trailer. So I think it's a fantastic trailer. Do I put it in my top 5 trailers of stuff I've ever seen? I don't think so. Maybe it makes the cut at like 4 or 5. But it's definitely a hype trailer and not like a trailer
available right now.
I will tell you my number one
we don't want.
Do you have that trailer list?
We got to keep
right
moving.
Now?
Isaac, of course, talks for an eternity on the trailer just to give it a 5.5 out of 6. I didn't really like it, but let me talk for 15 minutes about.
Tell you about it, okay?
I'm telling you, man. I've poured over this.
You got
trailer
a lot of notes on it. I'm happy for it.
So, okay, now I'll let you guys go in.
Thank you so much.
Think about what I've said.
Thank you so much, Robbie. Can you share with us your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I gave the trailer a 4.69. I think kind of the same things that Isaac was hitting on. The Spider-Man and the Doctor Strange arc seemed odd to me, and maybe they are leading us astray, but like the whole woe is me, everyone knows who I am now thing in the Marvel universe that they've created shouldn't be that big of a deal. In my opinion,
I'd push back on that. I'd push back on that. Being in high school, and I mean, we were made fun of for everything in high school.
But this is a kid that was like, his IQ level is off the charts. He doesn't have to go to high school if he doesn't want to.
I guess I'm just saying, I'm speaking from the perspective here of like, he doesn't have any money. And he's a high schooler, and he's feeling that pressure.
Well, we can blame Tony Stark for him not having any money. Tony Stark could have sent him some money after he died. But,
sure.
You think a guy that smart would have some contingencies that the Avengers initiative.
That's a good point. That's a very, very good loophole. I agree.
Yeah.
There.
So just that part of it took it down a little bit for me. The thing that the villains are cool. Obviously, the villains are really cool. What I'm most interested in is I believe that when Doctor Strange is casting that spell, it's not really Peter that messes it up. I believe that that's the moment Kang was waiting for from the Loki series. That's when Kang went, there it is. When time started splitting and everything?
Yeah.
Peter maybe caused some of that to happen, but in my head, it just made sense. King waited for that exact moment to happen, for Doctor Strange to mess up the multiverse and send everything haywire.
Do you think that could have paralleled with what was happening with Wanda in New Jersey?
Absolutely. I think.
Do you think those things are happening at the same time? Maybe?
I think it's all happening at the same time. I think this is what Marvel is setting up. That's my opinion. That's the thing that I took away the most from the trailer. Seeing all the nostalgia villains is very cool, but I can't get what happened. Why did the multiverse split so badly? And that's what set Kang off. That's the thought in my head that I just can't get out. This all ties together And it's Marvel pulling these little strings for us to, ponder about.
Man, I want to hate this trailer. I just can't. This is so awesome. This is so cool, guys.
It's so good.
It is.
Man.
I saw the rough copy.
Geeking out this
I watched the
whole
rough
freaking
copy.
time.
That's your
I'm the guy
problem.
that did it, and I'll tell you what, I thought when I watched that it was fake. It just looked too good to be true, some of it. And then to watch it in HD on my phone, but in a more high definition outlook, I think this is exactly what we are ready for. This has been earned. I would go as far as this is earned for Sony. This makes a ton of sense to me. It makes complete sense that Peter Parker's mouth would be the reason that gets him into trouble as Spider-Man. It makes complete sense to me that Doctor Strange would mess with this as a favor to somebody who helped him in Endgame. And let's also remember, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were on Titan together. So I think there is a deeper connection there that people aren't giving credit for. So I do think Doctor Strange is loyal to him. So from a character development perspective, I think that's okay, personally. I'll wait to see more. I'm going to give this a 5.8 out of 6 simply because the only gripe I have with this is that I'm nervous. I mean, I don't know how to say this. There's a lot of like Doctor Strange callbacks in this. This movie has to be the greatest homage to Spider-Man of all time. If this movie fumbles the bag in any way at all, this is going to be the biggest failure Marvel's ever had.
Do you think it'd be better than Spider-Man 2?
I think so, personally. I
Do you think it has to be better than Spider-Man 2?
I think it does. Maybe that's the pressure I'm putting on it. Like, this is so, like, this is all or nothing. This is all or nothing to me. I feel like if this is a convoluted mess, that's a huge problem. And it's a huge problem, too, because of what they're doing with Venom over in Sony. And so, I mean, there's a chance that we could walk out of this movie, guys, and I know people might not want to hear this right now, but there's a chance that Tom Holland does not end up in our universe, in our MCU universe.
There's a chance that Venom shows up in this crap.
Yeah, or there's a chance he ends up in Venom's universe and we get Andrew Garfield, or we get Tobey Maguire, and that's our Spider-Man moving forward.
Super old Tobey Maguire.
But everybody remembers him as that. I think there is a chance of that. So I don't know.
Gosh, that was amazing.
I think this trailer's amazing. It's hard to nitpick it. To see Alfred Molina say hello, Peter, was an absolute treat for me. To know that Jamie Foxx isn't going to be blue in this, seeing that lightning be yellow,
I do not
felt
agree.
so good for my soul because Jamie Foxx did a great job playing that character, I thought.
I agree so much with that. He got way too much hate for that role. Loved that role.
He did. He was all in on that. No, he was all in on it. And there is, and I'm saying 99% chance because nothing is for sure. There's no way that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire aren't in this at the end of it, Isaac. There's just no way. They're in this. Like, you don't show me Alfred Molina first trailer and not have them. Everyone, it's the elephant in the room. We all know what we want. Give us what we want. And give us an ending that sacrifices some people. Go ahead and kill a Mary Jane. Kill Zendaya's character. Or kill one of these Spider-Men.
Dude,
or,
they kill Ned.
They
kill Ned, and he comes back as Hobgoblin in the next Spider-Man movie. That's what's going to happen.
You can do this. This is what this movie needs to do.
If they kill Ned, I'll never watch a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, totally. I agree. This just has to be all or nothing. This trailer was bomb for me. The expectations couldn't be higher for this movie, which is a huge problem for Sony. That's a huge problem to me for Sony. But I do think that this group has the chops. I think John Watts has earned the right to tell this story. I think it's cool that Dafoe and Fox and Molina are coming back. I think it's cool that Wong is in this and that Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. I would assume that Wong is going to get tied up for something in Shang-Chi. That's my assumption here. That he's not going to be in this long. This is going to be right before Shang-Chi. That's my assumption. So, but we'll see. That's our review of this. Any other thoughts on it before we go to our last topic?
Man, the sheer joy that I felt when Willem Dafoe had his cackle and the pumpkin bomb dropped on the bridge. Oh, because I did not think we were gonna get like a goblin reveal in this trailer. That was the shock to me.
I love J. Jonah Jameson's portrayal as an online.
J.K. Simmons is the best J. Jonah Jameson ever.
He's the only one.
Oh, he's
the Mount Rushmore. He's alone. There's nobody else.
Yeah. They've been pushing him as like this online presence now, and it's not Daily Bugle anymore. Like even like in like,
isn't it like dailybugle.net?
I don't know, but it's like
that?
yeah, it's like the online thing because it's the same in Miles Morales the video game. Like he's this online personality now.
I think
Which
it's great.
makes sense.
I think it's great, and I think it's so perfect for the times. So perfect. Hey, thanks for sticking with us this episode. As always, you can send us your feedback and your reviews and ratings for this on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Shoot us an email at theinfinitybrospodcast@gmail.com. Let's talk about What If, the last 2 episodes. Let's talk about what if T'Challa was Star-Lord and what if the world lost its mightiest heroes. Jeffrey Wright obviously plays the Watcher in this. A bunch of actors come back to portray roles. I'm not going to really talk about those guys today, but let's talk about our ratings for episode 2 first, the T'Challa episode. This is seemingly, unless T'Challa comes back in another episode, which I'm assuming he will.
They confirmed that he's in 4 episodes, 4 What If episodes. Benedict Cumberbatch.
So this is the first of 4 episodes. First one for Chadwick Boseman. Let's talk about that episode first. What did we think of What If T'Challa was Star-Lord? What was our rating of that episode, Robbie?
I would give that episode a solid 5 out of 6. That had all the makings and feelings of like a big budget movie that they like had to cut a lot out of. But gosh, the Thanos lines, like those are like,
oh my gosh.
I'm amazed that like Twitter has not like ran with those more, and maybe they have and I just missed it. But like those lines are hilarious.
I think they're trying to
like.
I'm giving them a lot of credit, but I was hoping they haven't done that yet because of spoilers. But at this point, nobody cares about spoilers.
No, not in the What If series. Like once it's out, like it's out there, like it's everywhere. But gosh, those lines are so freaking good.
So good.
And Chadwick Boseman as a like super lovable, well-known like Star-Lord, everything that Peter Quill wants to be, like it is a really fun twist on it. I hate the tweet that went out, and we saw this on the Geek Nation Facebook page. But it was T'Challa as Star-Lord was better in 30 minutes than Peter Quill ever as Star-Lord. I thought that was a load of BS because like they made him out to be a super likable guy. That's the whole point. Like I love Star-Lord. Everyone's just still mad at Star-Lord for Infinity War. But
yeah,
but
pretty much.
I think that's unfair. But beyond that, I love the episode. The Collector being this big bad like muscle bound villain that uses all of his tools to do whatever he wants, I thought was really interesting. I kind of wish I wish he was an actual villain. And him having all of like the Avengers items like at his disposal, I thought was fantastic. So yeah, solid 5.5. Definitely a must see.
Yeah, I'll go next for the T'Challa episode. 6 out of 6. I thought this was dynamite. I thought this was exactly how you send off. I really, really hope Chadwick Boseman has great performances because to me, this would be the perfect way for him to end his career as even an actor. I've had an issue with this series in a couple ways, and one of the issues is not all the voice actors are doing a good job. Like, I'm kind of actually sitting back going like, you know what? They probably didn't need everybody to come back. Like, it probably is in the long run a good thing that Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. aren't coming back for this now because some of these portrayals have been really robotic and just they don't translate as well. This is not the case for Boseman. It is clear and obvious he knew what was coming in his life, and he knew that he had to give everything he had for this role. Because I think he just knew. He's like, this is really important. I got to get as many of these things out there as I can because I don't know how long I got. So, great episode. I did not enjoy the first episode nearly as much as the next two because I felt like the first episode was very vanilla and just it was Captain America, but if Peggy was Captain America. That's just basically the only difference to me with a couple different things. This felt a completely different story. The universe completely shifted and changed. and because of this one decision. And so that was exciting, and that's how every episode, in my opinion, should be. The weirder, the better. We do need Cosmo. We do need Howard the Duck. We do need those characters to be inserted into these episodes. And so I 6 out of 6 this. I thought it was great. The animation's dynamite too on this series too as well. Isaac, go ahead.
Yeah, I also agree with you, Max. I think this episode was 6 out of 6. Chadwick Boseman is amazing. I love how they portray him, and just the fact that he was able to sit down with Thanos and convince him not to murder half the universe is fantastic. That was one of my biggest surprises in this episode, was when Thanos showed up and he was on his side.
That was great.
Like, that was amazing. Yeah, everything about this episode was great. And the best part about this episode, to me, was that it felt like a true what if episode, because in the last 5 minutes of the show, we saw that everything was fine and dandy. Everything was great with Star-Lord, with T'Challa as Star-Lord. But then we found out that Chris Pratt, or I guess Star-Lord, what's his name in the show?
Peter Quill.
I forgot his name. Peter Quill. He is working at a Dairy Queen. He actually is the child of Ego, and Ego comes to get him, presumably to kill him. And Peter Quill is not going to be able to save the world. And probably T'Challa won't be able to save the world, or won't care because he's off in the universe doing other things. So that's like a perfect what if episode to me, is if, guess what, all these cool things happen, but also some bad things.
But Ego isn't going
as a
for Peter Quill
result
to kill him,
of
though.
this
Isaac,
happening
he's
too.
coming. He wants him to come be a god with him. Like Peter Quill is now has.
That's what he tells all of his children, and then consumes them. Don't you remember Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and the pit of bones that was on Ego,
weren't
the living
those for
planet,
his-
for
but
all
weren't-
of his
no,
children,
no,
that he consumed them?
Those were the kids that
yeah,
couldn't
those are
handle
all
the
his
power.
kids that he consumed.
Peter Quill can.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but Peter Quill can when he's
No, that
Star
doesn't
Lord.
matter.
Can he when he's a
Being
dude?
Star Lord didn't make
It does
him.
matter.
No,
It
no,
does
doesn't.
matter.
Why?
Yes, it does. It does, because he
Isaac's
learns.
argument here is based on his upbringing. That's why
He learned as Star Lord how to use the skills and
That's
stuff
just
like
inside
that
of
that
him.
he
He
would
didn't
need
know
to
about that
save the
stuff
world.
as Star Lord. What do you mean? That doesn't make
Yeah,
any
but
sense.
how is he gonna? How does he gonna know about it as Peter Quill working at Dairy Queen?
Because now his dad is going to be controlling him, and he's going to bring that power out of him. I think it's a setup. I think it's a setup for future episodes. It's a what if. Now you have two.
To me, that part meant that Ego is going to destroy the world because Peter Quill was not there to stop him. That's what that meant to me, and that was that's what I want in a what if. Is
Well, either way, there's
a lot of really good things, different things that happen. Right, yeah. And it just you felt the weight of that at the end. I felt the weight of it. And even if you have a wrong opinion like Robbie, you probably felt the weight of that episode as well.
For sure, yeah.
So,
I think we all can agree Robbie has better opinions. I think here's where I would interject on this, and this is kind of like the whole show's issue for me right now. I don't like how they're not showing the consequences at the end of the episode of what's happened. They show some of the consequences, but I want to hear the watcher go, because this happened, this didn't happen. Because this didn't happen,
How many episodes do we get?
And
how many episodes are there? What if?
We get a lot, 8 or 9, I think, is what we get. And I think the idea is,
I was thinking they might come back to these stories.
that's what I was saying. I think they're going to come back to these universes. I think you're right. I guess for me, I just want to see more talk of what because that's a great example to me, Isaac, of a consequence that, yes, the universe was awesome and saved and everything was fine and dandy, but if Peter Quill does work out as a Celestial with Ego, the living planet, then everybody's screwed. Right? Because every planet has Ego on it. He planted a part of himself on every planet. So I want to see these consequences play out in these universes that are really great. Or for example, with episode 3, which we're just going to transition into nicely, I want to see what happens at the end now that the world's mightiest heroes are gone. So let's talk about episode 3. What if someone killed the future Avengers before Nick Fury could recruit them? This one stars Jeffrey Wright, obviously. Samuel L. Jackson. Lake Bell plays Natasha Romanoff. She did a tremendous job.
She did an amazing job.
She's great, man. She's a great actress too, and I couldn't believe it was her when I read that. Mick
Didn't even realize it wasn't Scarlett Johansson.
Mick Winger plays Tony Stark. Clark Gregg returns as Agent Coulson. Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, Frank Grillo as Brock Rumlow, Stephanie Pancello plays Betty Ross. I thought for sure that was Liv Tyler.
I thought it was too.
I thought it
didn't
was
even
Liv Tyler. I
realize
was
it
like, they
wasn't
brought her back. I didn't know they brought her back. Mark Ruffalo and then Loki, Tom Hiddleston himself, then Jamie Alexander's back. And then
Kind of disappointed.
again, this is a spoiler. I'm giving you a
Ruffalo.
spoiler warning before episode 3. Last chance. Michael Douglas comes back to play Hank Pym. We find out he is the one who kills everybody. Oh
man,
I'll start with my review on this because I haven't gone first yet. This episode was really, really solid and strong. I liked watching it from the perspective of Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff. I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 6. I really, really am having an issue, though, with this series of not telling the consequences at the end, guys. The only reason I'm giving episode 2 a 6 is because of Chadwick Boseman's performance. But right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to give a higher than a 5 right now until I start seeing more consequences here. I see the micro consequences. I want to see some of the macro consequences. And obviously, some of it is left up to the viewer's mind, and I understand that. But this is an episode where we needed to talk about Loki taking over Asgard is a pretty big shift in this universe. Let's talk about why that happens. But I really liked that Michael Douglas's Hank Pym was the bad guy. I liked the way he was
you
drawn.
mean Midgard, not Asgard?
man.
Midgard. He took over Midgard. He took over Earth.
We took over Asgard too because Thor
But
died.
his dad's still alive.
Well, his dad was in the sleep. Remember, Odin slept, so he was in charge.
Was he in Thor 1? Gosh, I haven't watched.
He was the All-Father.
I haven't watched
All-Father was
Thor 1
sleeping.
in so long.
We haven't watched Thor in a long time. We'll have to ask Jared. He watches all the Thors. He loves those movies. He loves those movies, yeah. So I'm going to give this a 5. I really, really am enjoying it. But again, I do have to make the feedback of I'm not liking how we're not finding out more of what happens. And maybe that's the answer, Robbie. Maybe you're right. Maybe they're going to give that to me down the line. If that's the case, that is going to make my experience better. But these episodes are too short to not show me more. I'll put it that way. So you got to show me more, even if it's like pictures. Because to me, I'm thinking like when you play Mortal Kombat or Injustice, and when you win the tournament and you find out what happens now that character won the tournament at the end, you get a picture and then you get the narration of what happens in that universe. That I want to see something like that with Jeffrey Wright.
You want Jeffrey Wright to narrate what happens, the consequences of that world.
I want him to tell me way more. He needs to be talking way more than he's talking.
Jeffrey Wright is great as the watcher.
Don't waste Jeffrey Wright just by saying the same line at the beginning of every show.
Yeah, and then give me one paragraph at the beginning, one paragraph at the end. No, give me more of him talking. I need him talking more than Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Or Frank Grillo. Come on. Go ahead.
I don't know
Isaac.
who that is.
Yeah, I'd be down.
He's Crossbones. Brock Rumlow. The guy who dies in Civil War.
God, I could care less.
I thought this episode was fantastic. Give it a 5.5 out of 6. I think I'm with you, Max. I want to see the consequences because that's what makes a good what if story. Sure, if everything is different, what happens at the end? That's what we need to know. So I think I'm with you on that. And yeah, give me more of Jeffrey Wright. I'd be absolutely down. I think this episode was awesome because they're able to explore some things that they aren't able to in the live action stuff, like dark themes, like Hank Pym is a serial killer and he's killing Avengers in this. That's amazing. I thought the theme in this one, the dark, just kind of like mystery theme was fantastic. Like you said, how they drew Hank Pym at the end, just like a desperate guy who is ready to kill anybody he wants to. And even during that fight scene, he kills Thor not because he is an Avenger, but because he knows he thinks that Nick Fury would recruit him as an Avenger. At that point, it's like you could kill anybody you want because you could make the excuse that Nick Fury would kill them or would recruit them as an Avenger. So you just see the desperation and the insanity in his eyes in that final scene. And I thought that was fantastic. Such a great episode. I think the other episode 2 definitely was more interesting to me. And I think you mentioned it, Max, that episode 1 was cool, but it was kind of just like a shot for shot, different, it wasn't anything that we didn't expect.
Genders.
Yeah, exactly.
The most pilot episode ever.
Right. It was a pilot
pilot
episode.
of all
and we had
pilots.
seen Right. We saw probably a good 5 or 10 minutes of the episode before it even aired because of promos and stuff like that. So it's nothing we didn't expect. But yeah, I thought this episode 3 was fantastic, and that makes me excited for the future of this series because they can do a lot of different things that they can't really do in live action.
Robbie.
Who wins in a fight? Hank Pym or Miss Frizzle on the Magic School Bus?
Miss Frizzle.
Frizzle?
Miss Frizzle by a mile. Can I
Really?
tell you why?
Yeah.
Here's why. Let's talk about why. Okay, so first off, she can go to space. He can't. Let's talk that.
Fair. That's
That
Okay,
she can go to
true.
space. Okay,
It's a magic school bus.
It's
It's magic versus
you
science.
totally stole my second point. Magic beats science every time. 3, Hank Pym has only a certain amount of Pym particles to work with. The magic school bus appears to run on just fun and adventure and
Right.
2 to 3 seasons
Fair.
of PBS public funding by viewers like you and me, right? So that's the point we've got to talk about here, and I think so. Miss Frizzle also is a little more neurotic, I think, than this Hank Pym in this episode too.
Miss Frizzle also can straight up bench press 405.
No doubt, no
Like,
doubt.
There's pictures.
No doubt.
There's pictures.
Yeah.
But Hank Pym can bench more when he's smaller.
Actually, that's probably
So I don't. That to me is a bit of a wash.
Are you sure there's not? But are there? Isn't there episodes where Miss Frizzle, where the Magic School Bus has the strength of an ant, just like Miss
How
Frizzle?
much can the magic school bus bench?
Okay, but like the bigger question then, would Miss Frizzle and the Magic School Bus beat the Avengers?
Are the kids with her?
I think typically they are. So yeah, I would. Say
That's
the kids
just
are with
yeah, it's irresponsible. So I'm going to say no.
them. You don't believe?
I
that
don't
Miss
think
Frizzle
they
and the
should.
I don't
Magic
know
wins the
if
kids.
she's got a lesson planned and she is ready to teach those children.
Yeah, this is
then-
Miss Frizzle
then
went
I'd
off the
say
deep
the
end and is
Avengers.
now
Yeah, on the
training
flip though,
assassins.
on the flippity flop, she might be if she's like in protection mode.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a completely different
We
thing.
might
I
see
mean,
a different side on
this
Mrs.
is a
Frizzle.
woman, guys, who let a young man take off his helmet on Pluto,
Yeah, she let someone
and he
die.
lived and just got a cold. Like
She
this
has
is
some she
this-
has some magical properties outside of the.
This
magic
is a
school.
woman who went into a sick young man doing a news show, and he was sick in bed, and they went inside of his body to see what illnesses he had. This is a show,
Is Miss Frizzle more overpowered than Superman?
no question.
Absolutely.
I
agree.
mean, it's the same question as Zatanna. Is Zatanna more powerful than Superman? Yes.
I think Miss Frizzle wins that fight.
Between Zatanna,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I
think
don't
Miss
know.
Frizzle, I think Miss Frizzle might be like the most OP character.
Is this
in
like a
cartoon
Thor and his hammer
fiction.
like scenario here? Is this like a Hank Pym and Pym particles scenario? Like how much does Miss Frizzle hold value in this circumstance without the bus?
Well, that's what I said, but like we just talked about it. She has this power over this magical bus. Why? How?
Well, Liz can the lizard can run the bus.
Does the lizard
So I
have
think
magical
really
power over this bus?
the dialogue here is the can the bus beat Superman?
I think it's a yes.
I think we agree.
I think
Another
Miss
thing you
Frizzle
and
and the
I
Magic
agree
School
on.
Bus is the
Another thing
most,
you and I agree on today.
most overpowered fictional cartoon character in existence.
I
think
didn't
we-
say that. I did not say that. I just said I
Okay,
agreed.
who wins? Who wins in any fight?
I think if we're talking
Dr.
about fiction-
Manhattan probably
yeah,
gives
Dr.
her a-
Manhattan
gives
was.
her
I
a
was
run
just about
for
to
the
go
money.
Dr. Manhattan.
Spectre, Dr. Fate maybe.
Flubber.
Okay, this-
Flubber was live action. Never mind.
Flubber was live action, but I believe there was a cartoon. Maybe a serial.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
go ahead.
back to
Episode 3. What if? Go ahead. Go for it. Sorry.
episode 3. What if? I give it a 5 out of 6. I think it was a solid episode. Just going, I brought up that conversation because
Captain Planet. Captain Planet. Captain Planet.
Gumby.
Captain Planet. Give me Captain
Gumby.
Planet. Captain Planet.
Gumby.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Sheesh. The idea that a Yellow Jacket Hank Pym going out there and just killing people is terrifying to me, and I think that's an interesting idea, especially when they don't know what's coming.
Right.
As an assassin, I think that's a very interesting story. Gosh, I just can't stop thinking about Miss Frizzle now.
Well,
I was
I mean, a
disappointed-
couple others. So Saitama, right? We haven't even talked about him.
Rick Sanchez.
Well, yeah, but One Punch Man's like whole thing is like I take him out of things. I don't insert him because that's
Right. I'm just making the claim you asked. I'm just throwing some names out there.
Yeah,
Rick
sure,
Sanchez, no dice. Rick Sanchez
No.
is the most overrated on the list.
Yeah, Rick gets beat up all the time.
Rick gets beat up all the time. Rick got blown up in an episode of Rick and Morty and was buried by that universe's Rick, another universe's Rick. Like, come on, dude. Don't insert him to the dialogue.
There's always another Rick. There's always
There's
that's
always
true.
another Rick, or there's a clone, right? Go ahead, Robbie. Sorry, episode 3.
Gosh, I need to get a name out here before I forget. Where the frick is his name? Gosh. I'm sorry. I'm stalling.
Scrooge
This is me
McDuck.
Stalling.
Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck. Scooby.
He. I want you to tell me a richer character. That's a cartoon character than Scrooge McDuck.
Oh no, you can't.
Not possible.
He literally has bins
but
full
how
of
strong?
money.
How strong is Scrooge McDuck? He
Don't matter.
dives into
He's got
gold
money, dude. He's got
No, that's what I'm
fat
saying. No,
He
no,
swims in gold.
you-
Yeah, I mean,
you
you need
understood
some
me
strength
wrong.
to do
He
that.
swims in gold,
Yeah, he's strong.
and it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Like that. That's a strong duck.
Yeah.
That's a strong duck. Anyways.
Episode 3 was
this-
good. It was good.
Episode 3 was good. Like, it was enjoyable. This is the one connection I wanted to make. Is this Loki, the one that took over the Earth, is he President Loki from the Loki series?
No.
No,
It's a
I don't think
multiverse.
so.
No, I think it's just another Loki.
You don't think that's a multiverse President Loki and he's there now?
I don't. That's why I said
And he
no.
like, you're just taking away my fun. I thought that was a.
That was one part in episode 3 that I kind of like. I didn't really not enjoy, but I thought it was kind of like, what was Nick Fury's just cool with Loki marching into the UN and declaring himself president of the world or whatever he said. It's like, what? Okay.
Miss Frizzle versus Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. Do you guys even know who that is? Escanor basically harnesses the power of the sun. He's basically one of the most powerful characters in anime. Aang? We haven't even brought up Goku, but I don't think Goku wins this.
Yeah,
Goku,
I was gonna say Goku and Superman are
Goku
those
had
are
a heart condition that a android from the future is sicking him with.
those feel like layups.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Optimus Prime.
No.
no.
You know, like,
Not
she
even.
could just like go into him and expand.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
this
He
is.
was
I mean,
nothing.
you're really narrowed down to Captain Planet.
I'm fishing now for someone else. I think Captain Planet.
I've
is
Googled enough.
beside-
I can't do it, dude. Like, I mean, I'm trying here. I'm doing my best,
I
but
don't think there's. I think Miss Frizzle is up there as one of the most powerful. One of the most powerful.
Honestly,
Not the
dude, that's a
most-
really great take. It's a really great take. Like, what sparked you on this journey?
I was just thinking about. It was the pictures of a Hank Pym like inside like the Hulk's bloodstream and throwing that whatever that was into the heart. I was saying like Miss Frizzle could do that, and that's a Tuesday morning class for her. You know?
Yeah.
Dude, you're
that's
totally
no
right.
big
Like,
deal.
And when he blew up Hulk, it was like truly remarkable.
It was.
It was like because when it happened, I was like, okay, who's doing this? I don't know who's doing this. And
Howard
it felt
doing this. Like after he lost the element of surprise, it was like, he's not that powerful anymore because Loki beat him up like without even flinching.
Well, that's the thing. As an assassin, he's very powerful because
Right.
you don't know he's coming.
Exactly.
Once they knew it was
Once
him,
you know he's coming.
like Fury knew he needed a god like speed to catch him.
Or
The
illusions.
other thing that bothers me a little bit, and this is a big nitpick, is that it was Mark Ruffalo and not Edward Norton.
Oh my gosh. Get over
That
it, Robbie.
That bothers me.
No, you
That's
don't
a
watch that movie
0.5
nearly enough for it to
That's
bother
a
you.
0.5 off the ticker. That's a
Grow
5.5
up.
if it's Edward Norton.
Grow
That
up.
was wait. It was a 6, and then you brought it to a 5.5 because of that.
No. I gave the episode a 5.
Oh, okay. It was a 5.5.
But
and then
it would be a 5.5 if that's Edward Norton.
Wow,
It might be a 6.
that is-
if it's
that's
Edward
a,
Norton, it
that's
might
a
be a 6.
strong nitpick right there.
It's a nitpick. It's a half-point nitpick. That is kind of a strong nitpick. I just think if you're gonna go all out, let's go. Let's get Ed back.
Yeah.
I'm still team Norton over Ruffalo.
Yeah. I'm still
You can
I'm
bash
with you on
you can
that.
bash me
I'm
for
with
that.
you.
You can bash me for that take. I don't
No,
care.
I'm with you on that.
How dare you be Edward?
Oh,
Norton?
Isaac's with me.
Yeah, I liked Edward Norton. It's too bad he was such a douche that could, made
Yeah, he's a
everything's
diva.
difficult for Marvel.
Yeah.
But
How funny would it have been to watch him and Scarlett Johansson fall in love in Andrew?
I mean, about as
been a mess.
That it almost wouldn't work, just like her and Mark Ruffalo falling in love.
Almost.
I was gonna say,
That
it's not a
storyline to this day, I
whole lot
think, is
different
still
probably
terrible.
than
Well,
ScarJo and Mark Ruffalo.
I understand why they did it.
You
I
can
still think
check
it's
out
stupid.
What If on Disney Plus. You can check out The Suicide Squad on HBO Max and in theaters. Spider-Man No Way Home will be allegedly premiering December 17th, 2021. I'm holding my breath on that though.
Please,
I think Shang-Chi
Lord.
is going to be a big question
Ooh,
mark.
I'm
excited for
I'm
that.
excited.
Yeah, Shang-Chi, we will be reviewing that next week, so come on back for us. Make sure you turn on your subscription, your notification buttons. Shang-Chi next week, starring Simu Liu. We are totally going to be reviewing it. It's going to be a great episode. And this is true, Robbie. I know you and I are big Chris Stuckman fans. Chris Stuckman says this is one of his favorite MCU movies.
That's
and,
fantastic news.
What
What did
John Campia said this is the best comic book movie ever made since Logan.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
chill.
very
chill.
very bold statements. These aren't my
that's-
statements. These are just like, wow, these are
That is
dramatic.
bold.
Very bold.
It could be amazing. It's not. It can't be that amazing.
That's what they're saying. That's what the people
Are we
saying.
also? Are we going to review the Paw Patrol movie that comes out tomorrow?
Does it?
It does.
Mark will be.
Well, we'll have to get
reviewing.
Mark on that. Mark's
we're planning
excited
on
about
going.
that.
We're planning on going Sunday, I believe. Just let you know.
Oh
We'll
man,
review
if
that on
my
the pod as
my
well.
boy can sit for 90 minutes in the theater, that's a miracle in and of itself.
My whole thought is that any parent going to that knows that their kid is going to be absolutely insane. So I think I'm safe just taking my insane child.
That's a good point. That's
Like,
a
I think
really
it's gonna
good
be
point.
okay.
That's a very good point.
And a Sunday afternoon movie, come on. Like, it's going to be a bunch of grandmas with like 6 grandkids, and it's going to be hilarious to watch.
Yeah, good point. Thank you for listening to the Infinity Bros podcast, wherever you listened, however you listened. Thanks for making us part of your podcast experience. Robbie and Isaac, thank you for being on. Great to hang out with you guys. If you're still with us this long, we'd love for you to leave us a review. You guys are fantastic. As always, we love you guys 3000. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the Infinity Bros. Feel free to send listener feedback via email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.